The loss of America's truckers, the revocation of commercial driver's licenses from refugees and asylees. We refugees are the lifeblood of America. We hold the sacred profession, truck driving, and we deliver to you all the materials, from the food you eat and the clothes you wear, to the car you drive and the supplies used to build your home. In other words, while we live here, we also keep you living. Comment submitted to the Federal Register by a refugee, October 2025. The American trucking industry is in trouble. Trucking is a job that requires long nights and days away from loved ones. It is a hard job that not many willingly sign up for. As a result, the industry has struggled to keep drivers on staff. Assailed by these steep labor shortages, immigrant workers have picked up the slack. 18% of truckers are foreign born. Like so many other industries, immigrants fill the jobs others do not want. In September 2025, the Trump administration announced that it would revoke access for non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses from refugees, asylees, deferred action for childhood arrival, DACA recipients, humanitarian parolees, and other immigrant populations. Despite having a valid US work authorization and residing lawfully in the country, these individuals will be deprived of their livelihood, unable to provide for themselves and their families. Trucking companies, for their part, will be denied a significant percentage of their workforce, a lose-lose. Truckers are the backbone of America's daily life. They drive medicine from the ports to Middle America, freight the food we eat across the country, haul the fuel that gets us to work in the morning. Truckers are essential to the US economy. Without them, supply chains collapse, grocery store shelves go bare, and families are left without essential goods. The decision to sideline a major portion of America's trucking workforce threatens not only the livelihoods of immigrant drivers, but the stability and well-being of the entire country. Old routes, new rules. In the wake of 9/11, the Federal Motor Carrier Administration implemented a rule limiting commercial driver's license access to lawful permanent residents or green card holders and US citizens. Asylees, refugees, and other visa holders could instead register for a non-domiciled commercial driver's license, a license originally intended for drivers who do not live in the United States. To obtain a non-domiciled commercial driver's license, truckers spend months training to pass the commercial driver's license exam, often investing thousands of their own dollars in preparation. School bus drivers and construction equipment operators are also required to maintain a commercial driver's license. The new regulation, published in the Federal Register as Restoring Integrity to the Issuance of Non-Domiciled Commercial Driver's Licenses, orders states to halt issuing even non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses to refugees and asylees, amongst other immigrant populations. The interim final rule was announced on Friday, September 26, 2025, with an effective date of September 29th, essentially making its impact immediate. Green card holders, US citizens, and certain employment-based visa holders, like H-2A, H-2B, or E-2 holders, remain eligible for a CDL. All other immigrant populations, including refugees, asylees, humanitarian parolees, and DACA recipients, will no longer be able to renew or obtain either a non-domiciled commercial driver's license or any other form of a CDL. As a result, approximately 194,000 people will eventually lose their jobs. The rule does not immediately render these individuals' commercial driver's licenses invalid. However, state licensing agencies have been encouraged by the Department of Transportation to downgrade or revoke non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses from the populations rendered ineligible by the new rule. Shortly after publication of this new rule, key union organizers represented by Public Citizen, including the American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organizations, the AFL-CIO, filed a lawsuit in the DC Circuit Court opposing the decision, which was issued without the legally mandated notice and comment period. The administration cites recent fatal crashes involving non-domiciled commercial driver's license drivers to justify the policy change. But there is no reliable data to suggest that immigrant drivers are more likely to cause a fatal accident than their native-born counterparts. In fact, most evidence suggests that immigrants are safer drivers. For example, a study in Canada found that recent immigrant drivers were hospitalized 45% less than long-term residents because of a serious motor vehicle crash. In the United States, research on undocumented migrants found that granting driving privileges to undocumented drivers reduced the share of fatal hit and run crashes rather than increasing them. Refugees and asylees are not undocumented, but the study suggests that policy decisions premised on the assumption of elevated risk among immigrant commercial drivers lacks a strong empirical foundation. A highway to opportunity. The U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, USCRI, has worked with several clients who were able to become self-sufficient after finding work driving commercial freight vehicles. Safe, whose name has changed for anonymity, arrived in the United States in June of 2023 and picked up work as a Lyft driver. Struggling to pay the bills, he studied for his commercial driver's license and began working as a truck driver in time for his wife to welcome their baby boy. Truckers, like Safe, perform a vital role in the American economy. In the wake of the pandemic, the trucking industry experienced a massive labor shortage. The combination of an increase in demand for at-home delivery and a pull of workers towards the higher-paid construction sector amplified the problem. Immigrant workers kept American supply chains afloat. Taking nearly 200,000 people out of the workforce will make it harder for consumers to get the goods they need. This rule hurts not only individuals and families by putting one, and quite often the only, income earner out of work, but local economies and an entire American industry that is already experiencing massive shortages, states Sarah Lowry, USCRI's Associate Director of Humanitarian Legal Services. As Director of the Immigration Legal Services for Afghan Arrivals Project, Sarah has worked with a number of Afghans who served the U.S. mission in Afghanistan, many of whom have found work as truck drivers since arriving in the United States. Taking away commercial driver's licenses from Afghans based on safety makes no sense, she says. Most of the Afghans we work with are incredibly well suited to handle high-stress environments. They have worked under the pressure of war, put their lives on the line for this country. The road forward. In the weeks and months to come, refugee and asylee drivers will begin losing their commercial driver's licenses and their livelihoods. Nearly 200,000 truckers, school bus drivers, and construction equipment operators will be removed from America's workforce. This decision hurts not just immigrant drivers, but the entire country that relies on them to ensure we have access to essential goods, from baby formula to winter coats. Truckers keep America moving, including the refugees and asylees among them. Although this decision was finalized without review of the American people's comments, USCRI urges advocates and affected communities to make their voice heard by submitting comments to the Federal Register.